When I plan my attack, when I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone. One time on the MIC. When I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone. On the MIC.
Yeah. White on the track again, PPL is back again, coming for the Patty's twins, cause she the champion. It's the Pantheon Cup we all battle for. When rivals get to scrapping, it's a savage war. This is what we waited for. Finally, y'all, the time is here. Fantasy is back. My favorite fucking time of year. Light your bloods is time now. PPL is live now. The show where shit gets real, dog. We're all after the pie now. Geno in the jet, he hosts the show, uploading videos. He does it all from A to Z. You like the league to pay the fee or win it all and play for free. Play to be the best or lazy. It's a league of competition. Still the crown, that's the mission. Dog, it's time to get it cracking, plan your moves and start attacking. PPL is back in action, teams get mad, you know what happens. Hate each other, play with passion, build a team with trades and drafting. I think I done said my part, it's time for PPL to start.
When I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone.
And interconference warfare rages on into our final week. It is week 8 of PPL Live. Geno the Gent here. Ulysses S. Haight is on the line. The Omega Conference is now a 7-3 against the Alpha Conference. Omega continuing to make a statement through 2 weeks. So let's get you caught up with our Week 7 score, starting with the Mean Machine getting their first victory of the season, getting by Patty's Twins 130-81. The Argonauts show resource, get it done against Appease the Gods in a titanic matchup, 133-123. The Skulls flex muscle, break the 2-game losing streak, beat down the BGT 162-85. The United Players, the Destroyers, leave no doubt, get by only for the Boss 170-99. And the Gaff holds on Monday night without a coach as they keep squad underestimated in misery 126-120. Alrighty, ladies and gents, let's get into our final standing projections brought to you by Snickers Fantasy Trends. Starting at number 10, we've got Mean Machine. At number 9, the Baby Gas Team. At 8, Squad Underestimated, now in free fall. Snickers starting to see it. 7, the Gaff rising up, climbing that mountain. At number 6, we've got Appease the Gods. They weren't kind to their loss last week. 5, Only for the Boss. 4, Patty's Twins. At 3, we've got the United Players, the Destroyers. 2, the Skulls keeping it going with their big victory. And at number 1, the Argonauts staying undefeated at number 1. Alrighty, Ulysses, what do you think of the trends here?
I mean, they're relatively what I have. I would probably have the Gaff up a few notches. I think that they're trending a little hotter.
Okay.
I probably have Only for the Boss probably a few notches lower. Other than that, I think we're seeing our playoff matchups really start to come into frame. Definitely want to be one of these top 6 teams coming down the stretch.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. We already know how it works. Interconference warfare has been a doozy, man. Give me your good, bad, and ugly from week 7, man.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's the UP. I mean, the UP is a scary good team when managed properly.
Right.
I'm looking at the Chiefs coach said. I mean, he would have won regardless, but this owner tends to not pick up on these kinds of trends.
Okay, true.
The fact that the UP has made it through several bye weeks without them leaving somebody in a bye week's start is a surprise to me.
Okay.
You know, we know he's stacked, and this week was no different. 5 position players and the defense going for 20 plus.
Right.
I didn't even include King Henry, who threw for a damn TD. The UP had a leave no doubt week that should have Omega teams worried about conference play resuming.
No, definitely. The United players definitely have been flexing muscle throughout the season. Another 150 point plus performance. All right, man, give me your bad.
I mean, it's the Twins. I mean, giving Machine their first win. I know this owner. They don't like losing ever, period. Losing to this team is annoying this owner to no end.
Right.
You know, a win against the Machine, and you're a top Omega.
Right.
The bye week really hit the Twins, and the guys that made it into the lineup, they did not wow. While the bench actually performed, you know, the Twins bench only lost to the Twins starting lineup by 12 points. It was a bad week for the Twins. Looks to get worse with a matchup against the bye-rested Argo, who will be looking for an onslaught and to sweep interconference play.
Right, and the skull, man, ugly.
Yeah, I mean, ugly, it's squad. I mean, losing last week has them off my playoff board. I mean, shit, Snickers caught something because they also have them off their playoff board. And it's team management issues. They kill an otherwise impressive week. You know, squad went for 126 with their D and head coach combining for negative 13.
Yeah.
D starts with 10, so that means that those positions really went for negative 23.
Right.
You know, in a matchup that you lost by less than 10, you know, I'll give him a slight pass on the D play, but scouting report should have told him to look somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, anyone watching the Bengals knows what's up. I mean, shit, Lamar and those Ravens definitely know what's up. He had the type of production from position players that makes you wonder how they lost. But then you dig a little deeper.
Right.
You know, the Gav has the Bills head coach who are on a bye. Squad, why are you playing a head coach? Why are you playing the Panthers head coach?
Right.
He, of any owner, should know how bad this team and how bad they struggled without McCaffrey. I mean, he's been watching this all season. Went for Chuba, not there. Mismanagement, miscues, injuries continue to plague a season of no excuses. Jerry, on top of this ugly week, UP is coming to town. Things are ugly for the squad.
Oh, wow, man. Oh, man. I can't disagree with that. All right, man, I'm going to start off with my good. My good is the Skulls, man. 162, impressive day. And this is 162 with no Josh Allen in the lineup. This lineup has arrived. This lineup is set to make a deep, deep run in the playoffs, just as we predicted. I'm telling you something about Jamar Chase. He's the number 2 receiver in the PPL. First 200-yard performance in his very, very young career. I see more of those days to come. Darren Waller, no Darren Waller either in this performance. Zach Ertz comes in, fills in perfectly. The Skulls are scary, and the Omega Conference might want to worry about them also, so they're my good. Both of our goods are looking like Omega Conference powerhouses towards the end of interconference warfare. My bad, man, has got to be only for the boss. I mean, you only score 99. I can forgive the loss when the United players put up 170. But Patrick Mahomes concussed, knocked out of the game. The Chiefs only put up 3 points. It was a bad week for the boss. This owner does not like what he's been seeing from his team. He takes it very, very personal when those Chiefs don't do things well. And I'm sure he took this loss very, very personal. Has a chance to get right on Monday night, but it was a really bad week only for the boss. And things could get worse if they don't get right this upcoming week. And my ugly is the top of the Omega Conference. I'm looking at Patty's Twins losing to the Mean Machine. What are you doing? And I'm looking at Appease the Gods. What are you doing? I mean, you have the Argo dead to rights. The only regular starter they had in was Devontae Adams. You just got to find a way to get that win. The Argonauts are a resourceful team. They have a lot of depth. But like we said last week, these were a lot of streamers. And they just picked right. They made all the right moves, and they got a good win. But Appease the Gods has got to find a way to get that win to take over that number 1 spot. And Patty's Twins has got to figure out a way to keep the Mean Machine in their misery. Both of those top 2 teams in the Omega Conference dropped the ball. And both of our goods are coming for my ugly this week. So they better get it together going into Week 8. So let's jump in and let's get started with Week 8 as we start with our first matchup as the desperate, struggling squad underestimated gets it on with the leave no doubt-minded United players, the Destroyers. All right, man, so here it is. Squad underestimated having a season of no excuses is a season of mass struggles. I mean, it's gone wrong everywhere. Murphy's Law is in effect, not Murray's Law. While on the other side, the United players, it's been beautiful. Tom Brady on an MVP quest. Derrick Henry on an MVP quest. Cooper Kupp on, an MVP quest. He's got it all. He's got it everywhere. What do you think of this game? United players, squad underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that squad's lack of urgency.
Right.
Addressing his running game goals. I mean, I expected him to make some trades to keep himself in position for this year. I mean, it hasn't been the case. He had the talent early on with even when McCaffrey's woes. Again, make a move to get somebody who's going to be able to competently fill that role. And
sustain.
I have this one in a landslide, frankly.
Wow.
Squad can't get right. UP, they have no bad options.
Okay.
I could see things getting ugly for New Orleans against Tampa Bay, but Jameis is the X factor against his old team. I mean, the wide receiver core in New Orleans is not wowing.
Right.
UP, they'll have a lot to say about anything New Orleans is trying to do against Tampa Bay, and their skill positions play against New Orleans, Indianapolis, Philly, and Houston.
Right.
They've got cake assignments this week. I don't like the Green Bay D play this week, and I think he should outright drop the Chiefs coach. Hell, squad should drop Carolina while they're at it.
Right.
These HCs don't deserve a permanent roster spot that they've held all season, but I digress. I have the UP to keep pace, going 129 over the squad's 118.
Okay. Oh man, I don't think squad underestimated is dead, man. And you know what? Squad's backs against the wall, man. I think they're going to come out swinging on this matchup, man. I think that they're going to try to keep their season alive. I like Kyler Murray's matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Everybody's talking about the woes that the Packers offense is going to have. That Packers defense is going to have a lot of woes trying to contain Kyler Murray. The Cardinals have been waiting for these kinds of matchups, and they're in them now. And I think Kyler Murray is going to set and show that he's arrived. Alvin Kamara is back to showing that true RB1 status. He was the running game and the receiving game for the Saints. And I don't see that changing in the game against the Buccaneers, that they're going to probably be behind in, and he's going to probably get a lot of catches out of the backfield as well as the runs he's going to get out of the regular offense. Chuba Hubbard gets a good matchup with Atlanta. I like it there. And then Thielen and Cooper, it's going to be fireworks on that Sunday night football game in Minnesota. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. It's got a 55 over-under, so I like both of those receivers there. Kyle Pitts is emerging. There's a lot to like about squad underestimated. Now, on the United player side is where it gets tricky. Saying, how you going to pick against this guy? He just scored 170. I think this game in New Orleans might be a tougher game for Tom. Let's remember, whether Drew Brees is playing for the Saints or not, Tom's played against that defense, and that defense 2 out of 3 times last year did get the better of him. I'm not saying Tom's going to struggle, but I think he might be slowed down from, throwing 4 and 5 touchdown passes on the goal line like he did last week against the Chicago Bears. I think that he's going to be in for a much tougher defense, and I think that might slow down Chris Godwin as well. The Colts' run defense is one of the better run defenses against Derrick Henry in that division. Most teams allow him to run wild. The Colts tend to be able to wrap him up and stop him from getting going. There's reason to like squad here, and I think that I'm going to pick this one in an upset. We will see if the United players do change that Green Bay lineup matchups tomorrow. Sometimes they neglect things like this. We've talked about how good they've been this year, but hey, we never know when they might have a hiccup. They better get Corey Davis out of that lineup too, with Mike Williams as an option, and they also have Rob Gronkowski on the bench who might play this week. I got squad underestimated in a squeaker here, Ulysses. 128 to the United players, 121. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup of Coachgate conspirators, as two teams who were at one point both 0-4 have gotten into the win circle over the last week in the PPL. We got Alpha's Mean Machine taking on Omega's The Gas Attack. All right, man, so what do you think of this matchup? We got Mean Machine rolling in, getting their first win of the season without Justin Herbert. He's back in the lineup this week. We got the Gap, second hottest team in the league, only behind the undefeated Argonauts, getting their third straight win. All their wins are over Alpha Conference opponents. They're going to need to keep pace here if they want to have a chance at the playoffs, obviously, with their abysmal Omega record. What do you think of this for Mean Machine Gap?
I mean, well, it finally happened. I mean, the machine found a way.
Right.
And for the guys that couldn't have come at a better time, the pressure to beat the winless Machine is gone.
Okay.
So I think he should get it done this week. I mean, Machine is at relative full strength, but as guys are banged up on his roster, I doubt that they find the best plays this week.
Okay.
on the other side, Gaff has been one of the more interesting teams to watch.
This roster's looking better and better, man.
I'm saying, winning 3 straight, not been impressed with them in this in-season rebuild. I thought they were dead to rights, but, hey, hats off to this owner.
Right.
The one area that I think they need to consider upgrading is especially on the back end of the bye weeks, to probably do a playoff push, is Hurts. I mean, he's to me, he's just not a week in, week out starter.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's on him or the franchise, but I think that he could do better. But even that being said, Gaff should handle the machine this week and firmly place themselves back in the playoff discussion.
Right.
I've got the Gaff going 125 to the machine's 107.
Okay. I'm gonna have to agree with you, man. There's really no reason not to pick the Gaff here. I know what you mean about Jalen Hurts, because in the real world, he's not a very good quarterback, but in the PPL, he's top 5. So he's really one of the top reasons why the Gaff has been able to stay afloat, despite what we see in real life being ugly play. In the PPL world, that's great play for the Gaff, because he's able to get that garbage. He's able to get those late plays, those late touchdowns, that late touchdown run when nobody's trying as hard as they were early in the game. And that's really helped keep the Gaff afloat, along with the emergence of Leonard Fournette. I talked about him last week. Darrell Williams is a good play because he's the running back in that Kansas City offense. And, I mean, that triumvirate of receivers remains intact. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins is pushing for the best receiving core in the PPL. Dallas Goedert stabilizes the tight end position. They've got it good. Now, what I would question about the Gaff is they got cute last week with that HC not playing an HC. I always like for everybody to play every slot that they can play. Don't get complacent there. He's looking like he's going to do the same thing with Justin Tucker. Mean Machine can bite him if he does decide to not go with a kicker. He can drop somebody on that bench there and go with the kicker. He does that, and I don't see why he doesn't win this matchup comfortably. I got the Gaff winning this one 129 to the Mean Machine's 118. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup of a house divided. Alpha's top team of all time against Omega's top team of all time as far as Pantheon Cups go. We got the Argonauts and Patty's Twin, a rematch of Pantheon Cups 1 and Pantheon Cup 7. All right, man, I pretty much laid it out in that one there. These are two pillar teams of the PPL, two cornerstone franchises, Lakers, Celtics type teams here. What do you think of this matchup? Argonauts obviously rolling in at 7-0. Found a way. It was almost a Houdini trick they pulled last week, escaping ATG without any regular starters. And then, of course, Patty's Twins smarting after that loss to the Mean Machine. What do you think of this one, Argo, Patty's Twins?
Man, it was the tale of two teams last week. Argo continues to impress. I wasn't as high on this team as previous Argo campaigns, but all those doubts are gone as ownership was able to find all the right pieces during an improbable bye week.
Right.
Carr, Mitchell via a trade the week before with the Twins, and Tanyan all came through. We've discussed the Twins' woes from last week in my bad section, but the Twins are riding a hot team before the Machine, but I think that they were really overperforming.
Okay.
I think the Argo is just more talented. The Twins could get this, but it would all have to go right, and I don't see that happening. I've got the Argo winning this one relatively comfortably, 146 to 123.
You know what, man, I'm going to have to agree with you on this, and I think the Argonauts do get this one. Now, the only danger is that they've got so many guys wrapped up in one matchup here. If that matchup fails to deliver as far as scoring goes, that could really set the Twins up for a huge upset. The Twins do have a much more diverse lineup as far as matchups, and sometimes that can prove the difference in a matchup. I'm looking at Matthew Stafford finally getting in the lineup for Patty's Twins. I love that start there against the Houston Texans, and that also offsets some of the Argonauts' firepower at that HC. That HC has been very resourceful for the Argonauts the last few weeks, and the Twins have found a way to check that. Going away from Aaron Rodgers in a shocker for the first time in I don't know how long in a non-bye week situation. I do like Jonathan Taylor against that Tennessee defense. And Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler, they proved their value last week getting back into this lineup. Now, on the Argonaut side, as I said, Robert Tonyan was a nice rabbit out the hat, but that was a complete shot in the dark. Tonyan isn't a guy that has been reliable for most weeks. Now, there is no Devontae Adams, and I think that helps swing the matchup more to even help the Twins, because Devontae is a bigger part of Aaron's production and the Argonauts' production than it would hurt the Twins to just bench Aaron. So Devontae is going to hurt the Argonauts more than the Twins in this situation. Zeke's in a resurgent season, and the Vikings' run defense has not been all that. And I like Dalvin Cook also, but there's room for concern for the Argonauts at certain positions. We'll see what T. Higgins can do, but at the end of the day, there's too much scoring potential on the Argonauts side. I got the Argonauts actually getting this one 131 to the Twins 122. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup of teams definitely going in opposite directions, as the Baby Gas team takes on Appease the Gods. All right, man, this matchup, there isn't really much to say here. The BGT, they can't get right. They haven't set their lineup. They seem uninspired. Looks like they've lost face. Appease the Gods, obviously, that was one that they didn't want to let slip. There's two this season that they've let slip. This team could easily be undefeated right now. What do you think of this matchup, Baby Gas team ATG?
Yeah, this matchup looks one-sided at this point. BGT reeling from an injury plague campaign.
Right.
They just can't find consistent scoring. Tannehill filled in well. And Jacobs had a good week. But
right.
That wasn't it. Not having Jacobs this week and no player to fill in on the bench. They have no running backs to fill that spot right now. They're going to have to go to free agency, and it's slim out there right now.
Right.
We're thick and devised. I also think that they need to switch both their D and head coach. Falcons D plays Carolina, who we've already said are bad.
Yeah.
But I don't want anything to do with the Falcons franchise at this point. The Saints head coach against Tampa Bay, you may be seeing something I'm not. I don't think Jameis does it. I don't think that they come anywhere close. I just don't see the talent around Jameis to make this happen. And when Jameis ball happens, again, he may have a good stat line at the end of the day.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't trust the head coach against Tampa Bay at all.
Right.
So thank you. ATG has been watching the Bengals, and he picked up Burrow last week, and I'm sure he was smart for that.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of eggs in that basket this week, man.
Again, they're playing the hapless Jets.
Yeah.
He played the head coach against this Jets, and hell, if he would have played all the Patriots last week, he probably would have done just fine.
Right.
He picked up Burrow, and he probably should have started him, but, hindsight being what it is. He'll get his shot this week as ATG leans Bengals heavy on a terrible Jets team. On what should be ATG's worst of 5 weeks this season. I think that he surprises, and I actually have ATG leaving no doubt this week.
Oh, okay.
I have ATG going 151 to the BGT's 104.
Oh, okay. I agree with you. I think ATG's got this one. I don't know about leaving no doubt, especially on the bye week without no Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the cap to their scoring potential. He's the only thing that I could see them getting over to like 160 here. Joe Burrow, while he was impressive last week, he was in a matchup where I felt like the Bengals needed to impress, wanted to impress, felt the need to throw the ball, press down the field. I don't think the Jets are going to present that same opportunity. Now, that's going to allow Joe Mixon to eat, but I don't think it's going to allow Joe to eat to the same extent. Myles Gaskin is going to have a very, very tough matchup with that Buffalo defense. It might lead to him not having as strong a day and might lead him back to some of his early season struggles. So that could be a hard play there. And I'm also kind of worried about that Dallas defense. That game's got the highest over-under of the whole weekend. And ATG's got some better options. Chicago, San Francisco's actually got the lowest over-under of the weekend. And Denver against Washington at home isn't a bad play either. So he's got some great options there. On BGT side, the loss of enthusiasm, I don't know where they're going to get another running back right now. And even if they do, I'm not sure how that's actually going to work out. Ryan Tannehill's proven to be a consistent and steady play, so there's no problem there. I like Noah Fant, and if he does decide to go Deontay Johnson and A.J. Brown, he's got a real shot in this matchup. I don't know what he's going to do. It's hard to predict what the BGT is going to do from a week-to-week basis, ATG, we know what he's ready to do, and I think that they're going to get by. I think Mike Evans has a big week, and I like that they're getting Jared Cook into the lineup. I really like Justin Herbert, and I think that he's going to spread the ball around, and Cook's been a guy that he's been able to trust. I got ATG getting this matchup 119 to the Baby Gas team's 105. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. We go into a crucial matchup for these teams as the Skulls look to get themselves in a pace to win the Omega Conference, as Only for the Boss is looking for the wild card as they're far back in Alpha, as Only for the Boss takes on the Skulls. All right, man, I basically laid it out in the preview there. Only for the Boss scratching for their wild card lives right now. The Skulls can really start to make a statement in the Omega Conference by getting this win and pacing themselves forward, as well as locking up a spot in the wild card. What do you think of this matchup, Only for the Boss Skulls?
I mean, what a great prestige matchup. I
right.
mean, no more lineup has more on the line. I expected the Chiefs to slide this season.
Okay.
but last week was eye-opening.
It was a shocker, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I must think that this is a momentary stumble, but the Chiefs need to get right, and like right now.
Right.
The Chiefs play the Giants this week, which, has the feel of a get-right matchup for me on that Monday night. It's prime time. Guys are going to want to really shake off a lot of the negativity that's been hurled their way. I like Edwards against Green Bay. I think that the Packers are more than capable of
giving it up
against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But I think it has the potential for a really high-scoring matchup, and it just feels to me like whoever has the ball last is going to win that game.
Okay.
The Skulls get Allen back, and they're winners after 2 straight losses. Looking at the Skulls, they've been one of the most consistent high-scoring threats. I was shocked when I was looking at their score lines this week. They haven't scored less than 135 since week 2.
Right.
This matchup comes down to a Packers win and on Thursday night for me, and a Monday night showdown with the Chiefs. I expect the Boss's stars to shine in a very close and entertaining matchup win over the Skulls. I've got the Boss going 138 to the Skulls 132.
Got Only for the Boss holding on, getting some Omega or Alpha Conference pride going back, man. Man, this is one of the tougher matchups to pick, and I'm just going to have to agree with you, man. I think Only for the Boss does get this one late on the Skulls. I think the Skulls are going to have another big week. I think they might get to like 140, but I think that the Boss is going to be able to keep pace this time, and the Chiefs will close it out for them because they're not going to have back-to-back slow weeks. Now, the real question does become, is Patrick Mahomes going to play? They did say he avoided a concussion, but he's still listed as questionable. So we'll take that for what it is. So I'll assume he's going to play. If he does play, I think that they should be set up good. Now, one thing I would say is that I think Calvin Ridley might need to get out and Stephon Diggs needs to get in. Deebo Samuel needs to stay in that lineup. He's looking like a top 5 receiver this season, obviously, and he's ranked as such. So that was a great draft pick for Only for the Boss. They just made a strong receiving core stronger. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce have got to get back in the mix. Patrick Mahomes has got to get back in the mix. Now, on the Skull side, man, I mean, it's hard to pick against him because Josh Allen can go for 40-something himself. And, I mean, the last time they played the Miami Dolphins, I believe Josh did end up going for a healthy actually, he only went for 16. So maybe this is a week that he might slow down. But at the same time, the Skull scoring potential, like you said, has been so consistent, and they're even projected to have a high-scoring week. I like the Arizona coach, but it's still a coin flip here. And this matchup probably will turn on the coach win in this matchup. I think Green Bay might score the upset, and that might spur Only for the Boss on. I'm with you, man. It's going to be a tough one to pick, but, I mean, we might find out as soon as tomorrow how this matchup's going to go. And it might come down to Green Bay versus Arizona. Let's say Green Bay gets the upset and Arizona gets their first loss of the season. And that spurs Only for the Boss on to their first win. Only for the Boss wins this matchup 134 to the Skulls 128. All right, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. We get started off with a great matchup to open up. A lot of fantasy relevant players, obviously. Kyler Murray for squad underestimated, getting started off in a crucial matchup for him going up against the United Players. The coaches for the Skulls and only for the Boss, as mentioned. The Gaff has DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, there's players everywhere. And then we close out Monday night, seeing if only for the Boss and his Chiefs can get that win and escape the Skulls. You guys have a great